Welcome to our A-Push podcast, Footlong with American Cheese.
With Andrew.
And Misbah.
And Anik.
Well, today we're going over period 4. I know you tuned into our last episode, period 3. We discussed some early American troubles following we talked about the Revolutionary War and a little bit after. Now we're going to really dive into the beginning of American presidency. We got primarily Thomas Jefferson. We see his main conflict with
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton. Have you guys seen the play? I've not actually seen the play. Have you guys seen the play?
Yeah, he gets shot and killed.
You're kidding me. You're telling me Alexander Hamilton is no longer alive.
Yeah, pack watch.
I can no longer meet Alexander Hamilton.
Nope. I was there though.
There goes my Saturday plans.
It was technically illegal too.
Oh, was it legal?
Yeah,
oh yeah, dueling.
It was illegal.
Dueling was legal in this time period.
This is less of American. It's technically conflict because like they're mad, but in this time you could like formally request to duel someone.
Bring back dueling.
Bring back dueling. Anyway, yeah, but you see with Jefferson and Hamilton, this party conflict. I know we mentioned that Washington was like, hey, don't do that, and they did it anyway. But yeah, we saw this budding in the past era, and we're really going to discover it now, or delve more into it, with this whole Federalist versus Anti-Federalist thing, you know?
Yeah, this is before the new political party, the Democratic Republicans, was invented.
The
Well,
Anti-Federalists
no,
were captured
1800,
in place, though.
No, but we're still on the Republican enough now.
Anti-Federalists versus
We're
Federalists.
still on the Federalists versus Anti-Federalists. Yeah.
Yeah, but right there in 1800, 1800's election, the very first year of period 4, Thomas Jefferson runs as a Democratic Republican, which is the new name for an Anti-Federalist.
Mm-hmm. And they're all for protecting the individual rights of the states and taking power away from the federal government, which is why they were initially against the Constitution. But as we recapped last time, they added the Bill of Rights, and that's what caused the anti-federal support.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict, but there's also a lot of compromise in this era. Speaking of compromise, I know it's a little bit before 1800, but the Great Compromise of 1787, the Bill of Rights and House of Reps, or no, not Bill of Rights, House of Representatives and Senate. You guys know that?
Yep.
Yes.
But yeah, this was due to the conflict of a lot of states like disagreeing on how America should fundamentally be. America was not very well established at this time, so the big conflict was, hey, should the votes of each state be counted by population, or should each state get their own set amount of like congressional votes?
And there was also the debate over slavery, and that was pushed to the year 1808, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the compromise of 1787 was there's this New Jersey plan, which was like, hey, each state should get a set number of votes, and there's a Virginia plan. Each state should get their like votes based on population, right? And this caused a lot of anger and like infighting, or not like there wasn't actually physical fighting, but people were very hotly debating this topic.
Mm-hmm.
There's conflict in the sense that how America should be. So we come to the Great Compromise to solve conflict.
Yes.
This just made the House of Representatives and the Senate. Senate's bless you. Senate's based on set votes per state, and House of Representatives is based on population.
Thank you for that context. Moving into one of the most important compromises we see at the beginning of period 4, Napoleon and France was like at large at this time, and so they wanted to get rid of their territory in North America to consolidate power in Europe. So Thomas Jefferson bought the Louisiana territory from him for about $15 million back in the day. That's worth a lot more these days.
But that was still like a steal. Like,
yeah, no, we fleeced him. That was essentially, we gave him a bag of chaps.
Chaps?
Wasn't
I
it
said
about for like
chaps.
pennies?
We gave him a bag of chapstick, yeah.
Yeah, we gave him a bag of chapstick. For all the viewers out there, that is not historically accurate. Chapstick
He was just joking.
Chapstick didn't exist back then.
We don't actually know that.
Can you apologize, please? Apologize.
Formally apologize.
I made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. I do not expect to be forgiven.
I forgive you though. So
I don't.
Okay.
another conflict.
Yes.
But that wasn't in period 4 though. This is in period whatever. Anyways, so with this new territory, it brought up a lot of questions like, will the new territories, if we're going to make states out of them, first of all, what's in these territories and will they become slave states down the line?
Explain why accepting the Louisiana territory was a conflict in and of itself.
Because we didn't know what to do with the extra territory. We didn't know if we were going to create...
Wait, and there's also something like there's nothing in the Constitution really to allow the president...
The president didn't have clear outlined power.
There's two interpretations of the Constitution.
Nothing was stopping him, but nothing was also granting him the power.
Yeah. there's like Jefferson believed in only follow what the Constitution does, and this was a big conflict like in his own presidency because like, hey, I'll be breaking my own policy if I accept Louisiana, but he did it anyway. So
I think it paid off.
I think it paid off. Yeah. Ever had a beignet from Louisiana? They're pretty. I've actually never had one, but I've heard they're good.
I'm sure the fruit tastes nice there.
What? Wait.
I'm just sure fruit tastes nice in Louisiana
Why do you think that?
because it's Louisiana.
Oh yeah. But like actually, in Louisiana, it was like really helpful for trade because there's a big port going into the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that helped a lot.
All right. So another conflict that we have after this is it was between the British, which they are back for more, and the United States citizens. It was fought over the impressment of.
What year was?
Oh,
this?
it was the War of 1812. That's the name.
And what year was it?
1812. They were basically playing it dirty because Britain was capturing U.S. sailors and making them work for them for the Royal Navy, which is called impressment.
That's not very impressive of them. I personally, I think I'm a bit disappointed in the British.
That's depressing.
Yeah. So basically, this made the U.S. citizens, the Americans, very mad, really, really mad, and it actually increased the restrictions of trade overall, and it increased
Essentially,
nationalism across.
They ran back the Revolutionary
This is actually,
War.
It was a boost to.
This is a sequel.
Yeah, this is a sequel,
Yes.
but this actually had a pretty good effect for the Americans. Because right now, a big conflict was that America was not united it was a United States of America, but the states were not very united, you know?
And the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the entire
So
country
all-
came
all-
together to fight the British again.
And this sense of unity came about these separate states.
The British may or may not have burned down the initial White House, but at the end of the day, the U.S. Was able to fend him off.
No, but I
And-
think a good thing came out of burning the White House, you know?
Yeah, we got a bigger one now. But anyways, the reason the War of 1812 was so important to U.S. history is because the Federalist Party died off. Because the Democratic Republicans, they were the ones who really wanted to start this fight, while the Federalists said no. And considering how big of a win this was for the Democratic Republicans,
Technically, the U.S. didn't win. It came inconclusive, but
hey, not losing is considered a win, all right?
tell that to the Vietnamese.
But the Democratic Republican Party gained a lot of popularity, and the Federalist Party was pretty much destroyed after this. And that leads us into another political person. Would you like to introduce Andrew?
Sure. So
A guy who shares a name with you.
My name is Andrew, but there's also an Andrew Jackson.
His last name is not Jackson, by the way. Andrew's last name is Salaka.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Solana.
So he
His name is
says.
Andrew Jackson. Huh?
So you say.
All right. So this man, Andrew Jackson, ran for president, and he ran on the platform of sort of representing the common man, which is he wanted to relate to most of these people voting for most of the American citizens.
Was he a
And
war
that's
general?
kind of
He was
what
a war
got him
general,
in.
Yeah, he was a war general. This stemmed from a conflict from early America that
He was fine.
only nobility could, not nobility, but only land-owning rich white men could vote. And people who didn't own land were not too happy about that. That was a big conflict because how are we being taxed? How are we represented in this government? How do we have to live under it if we can't vote?
And
So-
listen, honestly, in my opinion, all he did was grant suffrage to all white men.
But that was
Poor or rich.
I
mean,
thought
yeah,
this
I mean,
was an unbiased podcast.
Progress.
What
you're a
happened?
white man.
Not really.
No, you're conditionally.
Yeah.
You're white when it benefits you.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, what was I saying? Hold up. And we're also introduced to this manifest destiny, which was used. This concept was originally introduced by John O'Sullivan in his writings, and it basically the idea was that it's America's God-given destiny to conquer the whole continent from sea to shining sea. Now, the problem with this was that there were
People
a lot of
live there.
Native Americans live there still. So we had to manifest our destiny and kind of encroach on their land.
Encroach.
And yes, encroach.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. You know,
Encroach,
that's a big conflict because
Which-
people live there. You know.
Yeah, which kind of led to an event called the Trail of Tears.
This
This
was
was a forced. I'm not done talking. There was a forced removal of the Indians. This actually happened twice.
you can't call them Indians.
Euphrates River.
I met Native Americans. A forced removal of the Native Americans. Ms. McGough.
Okay, he's struggling. I'll go off. So Andrew Jackson called for the removal of like the Seminole tribe in Florida and surrounding areas. Move everyone from Florida. Tell them get up, pack your bags, and go all the way to Oklahoma.
And this was they didn't really fund this trip. They didn't give him any like means of transportation. They didn't like schedule it during the summer, so at least it'd be a nice walk. They're like, nope, middle of winter, you're on your feet, get out. And this was really unfortunate. This is a big conflict for native tribes because they're already dwindling in numbers because of disease, because of being forced out of their land.
A lot of them died.
20,000
20,000
around
lost.
20,000.
And they're forced into Oklahoma, which that already sounds bad enough. But Oklahoma's land is not very fertile. It's not good for farming.
And there's a lot of tribes being packed into one area, especially tribes that don't usually like each other.
Yeah, so conflict between native tribes, conflict with the land, conflict with people dying because of this horrible trail.
But that raises a different conflict with the natives. They're like, are the previous tribes that we used to fight with, are they still the enemy, or is the enemy the white man now?
We didn't really go over that in A-Push, so I don't know.
No, I'm just going off the dome right now.
Off the dome.
Yeah.
Off the dome. Fellas, he is off the dome. But yeah, there was also some more native conflict with Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, if you can't tell already, was not the biggest fan of natives. You guys know the Cherokee versus the state of Georgia?
Yeah.
The Cherokees decided to make their own constitution and state that, hey, stop coming into our land, because a lot of people in Georgia kept moving westward and westward into Cherokee territory.
To get their peaches.
Oh yeah, Georgia peaches.
They also had gold.
They did not have gold. You're lying.
Why else were they moving in there? I'll prove you wrong right now.
I get my peaches down.
No, not this.
Well,
is
there's
not
gold. There's
this is
probably
Georgia,
one.
not
There's
California.
probably
No,
one.
I know, but
there's probably one
there's
gram
some
of
in Georgia.
there's probably 1 gram of gold in like everywhere except like maybe Antarctica. So there probably is there too.
You should believe in Antarctica.
No,
but
it's actually land.
No, but kept moving westward and westward. So the Cherokees sued and brought it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Cherokees, saying, "Hey, you guys in Georgia, stop doing that." But Andrew Jackson, being the hater that he was, there is gold in Georgia. I formally apologize.
Guys, there's 1 gram of gold total in the entire state of Georgia.
I mean, why else would they move there?
No, but Andrew Jackson, following the suing, still told people, "Hey guys, you guys can keep going into Georgia. You guys can keep going there," and no one stopped them. So that was another big conflict for the natives, another big loss for them.
Did the Supreme Court rule like
Supreme Court ruled. I said that. Supreme
Okay.
Court ruled in favor of the natives, but Andrew Jackson ignored them anyway and kept having people move westward and westward.
Sigma Mill.
I mean, everyone who tried to assassinate him usually failed.
Oh yeah, someone tried to assassinate Andrew Jackson and his gun jammed. And
He beat him.
Andrew Jackson, the rumors say he won over 100 duels in his life.
I don't think that's true.
That's what I said. It was a rumor.
Oh, anyways, another conflict that we see in this period was the Mexican-American War. Now, this was caused by a newly formed territory, Texas, in which it was technically Mexico's. It was literally Mexico's. I believe,
So Mexico
And then,
told Texans or Americans, "Hey, you guys can come here,
But
as
just
long as you follow these certain things. Like
they got to be
speak
Catholic.
Spanish.
They got to be Catholic, though.
They got to speak Spanish. They got to do all. They have to follow this checklist. But Americans didn't do that.
They didn't do that, and that was the problem.
No, because then what happened is Mexico had a revolution and changed governments, and this new government, this is like a parallel with the American Revolution. There's a salutary neglect almost with these American settlers, and the fact that while there still was this checklist, they didn't have to follow it. But when Mexico's new government came in, they started enforcing it, and the Americans there got mad.
Texans did not like that.
Texans did not like that.
Well,
So what they did, they just directly disobeyed these laws that were given by the Mexican government, and they called on the Americans to send American troops to help them.
Yeah, and America eventually got involved, and they won this war. This was a big conflict between the two countries, but America won, and for a
Finesse
while,
all their land.
and Mexico ceded a lot of land to the United States, including Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Florida, that whole territory. And this admission of new territory is going to cause a lot of conflict over slavery in the United States. But that's going to be for our next episode, period 5 of APUSH, which is going to be the sectional tensions over these new territories of slavery, the seeds of the Civil War, and the Civil War itself. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
I hope you didn't.
We'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.